And I had this aha moment this morning, and it becomes quite obvious at this point that nothing is happening. Nothing ever happened. There is no ever. It's not happening. Happening implies a timeline. Happening equals time. And happening is obviously an illusion. What's seen here is that it's a story, it's imagination. It's such an imagined continuum of past, present, and future. And that's just not the case. And it's so obvious that nothing is happening. And when one is in a story of happening, one is in time. And when one is in time, one is assuming responsibilities for things happening. And this is what the me character, the separate self, does. Once this got dropped, there is only obviousness that there is no continuum, that it's all imagined, that these thoughts generate stories, and then the story is believed and it's felt. But there's just this, and that's all that is. And it's just so obvious. This message comes, I can see how this message comes for me as a burden, as bad news. However, at the same time, when the me is dissolved, so to speak, there's nothing but freedom. There's nothing but contentment, calm, peace. Me wants the story. It is the story. Even the memory that you have right now is fresh and new. A thought about the past is fresh and new. You cannot grasp the thoughts, you cannot catch them. It's all fresh. But it's so obvious that nothing is happening. So what happens here is that the baggage of the story of the past gets dissolved. There is no more maintaining the continuum. The body still has certain tensions and something may arise. But there is a release, and it's a huge relief of this remembrance that it's not happening and all there is this. And it's quite a direct, if we want to call it experience, it is quite direct and it's undeniable. It's quite undeniable. Also realization that the me character that created so much drama and weight, it doesn't matter. It's not important. Is once it drops, then it really doesn't mean anything, because almost there is no sense of importance even about me, because it was never real. I don't know if it makes sense, but I'm doing my best to describe. All I can say, it is quite obvious. That is just what is apparently happening on its own, apparently. But there is no happening. And and there is no time. The importance of the stories, of the past, of the weight are really gone. And if something arises from the past, it's all new and fresh. So it's all there is as it arises. It's not a memory from the past, really. It's new and fresh. So you're not clinging anymore to how things were, how things should be. There's just this. And the sense here is that the more it is, I mean, I don't know how much more it can be obvious, it just is. But in this here, there is no desire even necessarily bringing up the stories or the weight of the stories. And it might happen, it's okay. Like in my last video, I did mention that you don't need to deny the story. It's okay. But when the story arises, the same story arises, let's say, from the past, it's not the same, it's fresh and new. Because nothing is happening. It's quite interesting how this obviousness somehow becomes even more obvious. I don't know if it's possible, but in this experience here, for me, it's I honestly don't know what else to add to this. I see that not much can be said, but there's desire to speak about this. It's pretty obvious that it's all imagination. The me is imagination, is the story, the thoughts. Illusion. And it's not a big deal when it drops. It's not an event. Thoughts and images still can arise, but they don't have the weight to create a continuum. They just arise as this. And it's clearly seen that the same way difficult emotions and labeled negative things or feelings just are, because it's all there is. When they don't have a story, they just are. They're pretty harmless. And they're not denied. They're not tried to be changed. And yet there's always the body will lean towards feeling better. There's nothing wrong with that too. But the core message really that you're not, there's no you doing any of that. There is no you. There is no you. And it's so obvious The me in the story of Jane was fighting that for quite a while. But when it's clearly seen, there is a collapse, so to speak, of continuum of time. Of the story, of how things should be. That all can arise, but it doesn't have that solid grip that is me trying to hold on, grasp, and maneuver. But also, it doesn't matter at this point because there's nobody doing anything. It's apparently happening on its own, but there's no happening taking place. And I do appreciate that I have this platform where I can talk about this. I appreciate you watching this. I